Thank you very much for checking out episode number 63 of the Paltrocast with Darren Paltrowitz, the final episode for 2020. Of course, this has been a different year for everybody for a variety of reasons, but I'm glad to be doing the podcast still for you all. The next episode, episode number 64, is going to be my first weekly episode. The plan is to change the format up for a little bit and do 30-minute or less episodes weekly, not bi-weekly. So looking forward to producing more content for you all ASAP. Well, all that said, this episode features recent interviews that I taped with 3 different performers who all have a lot going on. Ashba, aka DJ Ashba, Kristin Chenoweth, and Fran Healy from the band Travis. First up is the interview with DJ Ashba. DJ Ashba is one of those people that 10 people would know for 10 different reasons. A lot of people would know him for his work in Guns N' Roses. He played guitar in that band for a long time. A lot of people would know him for his work in the band Sixx AM with Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. Of course, he's done solo stuff. Years ago, he was in the band Beautiful Creatures, who are on a major label. But his latest single is A Christmas Storm. We spoke about that. We also spoke about his life as an entrepreneur. Not everybody realizes that he's got a company called Ashba Media, which produces set pieces for major touring productions. Not just Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue kind of stuff, but big, big shows that you're definitely familiar with. Really nice guy who also happens to be named Darren. Second, you're going to hear my interview with Kristin Chenoweth. This was a unique one. I was one of many interviews that she did in a couple of hours over the course of a day, basically to promote Kellogg's and also her new movie Holidays, which is on Netflix. Holiday-themed movie that was pretty funny. My wife is a big fan of it. But I like to change things up in these celebrity junket kind of things. I like to ask things when possible that, not for the sake of throwing off the people per se, but changing it up. So knowing that Kristin's from Oklahoma and that she's a wonderful singer with real credits, I decided to ask her some things about Oklahoma musicians. So Jerry Cantrell from Allison came up in conversation. So did Leon Russell. Great conversation that I had with her. It's a short one. Last but not least is my interview with Fran Healy from the band Travis. One of my favorite bands for a long, long time now. As I kind of stammer out at the beginning of the interview, I've been a fan of Travis for now over 20 years. That's kind of the realization that you're getting older, to say the least, and also that your favorite bands are becoming classic rock bands when they've been around for that long. But the new album from Travis is called 10 Songs. Not a clever album title where there's 11 songs. There's actually 10 songs. One of them is a duet between Fran and Susanna Hoffs from the Bangles. Another great album from Travis. I'm still a big fan, and this is my first time talking to Fran, voice to voice. I had done email Q&A with him a couple of years ago. Not a very personal experience. Hard to gauge a person's personality from that, but I came away from this one hearing a modest, fun, funny, interesting guy. He actually picks up the guitar during the interview to show me something when I asked about a particular Travis song. Really do hope to speak with him again. I'm sure I could have spoken with him another 2 hours, much to his not so delight. But thank you so much for listening to the Paltrocast with Darren Paltrowitz in 2020, 2019, 2018. It's great. The time is flying by and couldn't do it without your support. Thanks. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Stay well and stay healthy, and great Shabbos.
Paltrocast.
Miss Pac-Man.
Ms. Pac-Man is right there. I don't picture you as a big gamer, but do I have that wrong?
I'm not too big of a gamer. I want to get more into it, but I'm too busy to game.
You've only got 4 talents and hobbies,
I admire the people that sit around and play video games all day. I was like, God, I just never was dealt those cards, I guess. I'm always working. So.
Save it for retirement.
I did things the opposite way. Like I made it in music, and then I created a day job for myself, which was fucking stupid, But
And that is actually something I wanted to ask you about a little later after you get the housekeeping out of the way, because less than 12 months ago, you were promoting Christmas in Hell. This is a more optimistic side of the Christmas spectrum. When did you decide that you were going to do a new Christmas project of your own?
Well, it's not a Christmas project. It's just I just released a Christmas single is all, called The Christmas Storm. And I have a brand new project, solo project on Universal. And, I'm really excited about it. My goal was to kind of fuse the world of, big rock guitars into the EDM platform. And I've had a lot of fun as a songwriter, producer.
Yeah.
'Cause on paper, it sounds easy. And when you get in there and really understand that, wow, I kind of get why there's not a lot of guitar in EDM, because it sits in the same frequency as the synths, So, really trying to figure out a creative, unique way how to reapproach the guitar to make it sound more like a synth, or, with kill switching or whatever, and just blending the two instruments in a just a strategic way to make it all sit properly in the track, But yeah, so I just released a Christmas song called A Christmas Storm, and we tied it to Toys for Tots National, and yeah, that's where we're at.
Well, I'm calling it a project. You say it's a single. I'm saying it's a project, because to get a bunch of songs into that medley style, a comprehensive music video that has choreography, costumes, I assume is filmed where you are right now?
No, actually, we filmed it at Mojave Studios. I probably should have and could have done it at my rehearsal room, because it's plenty big enough. But, they just had a beautiful setting down there. I walked in, and the room seemed like it fit the spirit of the song. So we ended up renting out that place, and it was great. We got, a whole quartet in there, that the quartet that Aerosmith uses, and 6 ballerinas, and my head dancer Skylar choreographed all the dancers and stuff. It was a lot of fun. My wife was in the video, and everybody said she's the angel of the video that grants the little girl the wish, and she'll fight you on that. She'll say she's a mystical creature in the video, so it's pretty funny.
Semantics. When you say the string quartet that Aerosmith uses, do you mean like the people that David Campbell uses for his orchestrations?
I don't know. I just know they played with Aerosmith quite a bit, and I think it's probably maybe on their residency. I'm not sure where they play with. I just know that was one of their big.
That's
credits.
A great credit to have, Aerosmith, simply put. But
and they're phenomenal. Like they're amazing. The quartet is amazing. They were there between, when they'd shut the take off, they were actually really playing the song. So it was pretty neat.
Cool. Well, credit goes to you. I first learned about you from Beautiful Creatures. So we're talking about 20-ish years ago. And of course, you had credits before that. And of course, you've had many, many credits after that. But I'm curious when it stopped being a struggle in terms of work, and when you reached this point in your career where the work was coming to you instead of you having to pound the pavement so much. I pound the pavement still to this day. I mean, I don't think it ever got to a point to where it's just, a lot of stuff landed in my lap probably, but I definitely worked my ass off to get to that point. It's kind of like, people always said, it's easy to sit back, and if you don't know the whole story, and go, oh, he got lucky, he got Guns N' Roses and stuff like that. But the thing is if you didn't do your homework up until that moment, right,
when that moment comes and you're not prepared, that ship's going to keep sailing. So I just don't believe in that. I believe in, if anybody knew the hard work that it takes, and a lot of people do, but the ones that, certain people sit back and go, oh, they're just lucky in life. There's a little bit of luck involved, but there's a hell of a lot of dedication and hard work that goes into it. Else, you just don't have opportunities, So.
You're not the first former member of Guns N' Roses I spoke with, so I'm aware of the inner workings without saying anything too much there. But what I'm getting at is, like, was it 2005 or 2006 that things got a little easier for you?
Yeah, I remember when we were first starting the Sixx AM album, and me and Sixx we were always constantly together. So we'd be I remember I was sitting in his car one day, and I go, "How do you know?" And he goes, "What are you talking about?" I go, "How do you know when you go to bed one night not famous and you wake up famous? Like, where is that, how do you know?" And I remember he told me, he goes, "You'll just know." And I remember getting off of a jet in some foreign country. I can't even remember where I was, but with Guns N' Roses. And I remember coming out, and there was police everywhere, people with guns, and they had like 2,000 to 3,000 people at the airport waiting for us. Barricades. We get in the van, and it's rocking. But going through the airport, I see my face all over TVs and stuff. And I remember talking to Sixx that night at the hotel. I go, "I think I know now." It's just one of those weird moments where it just kind of, life just switches, and I'm very thankful and grateful that I was able to reach that point, and yeah, it's a trip.
Was the long-term plan always to be a songwriter and producer and collaborator for other artists, or is that just something that happened haphazardly?
The long-time plan was probably to rob liquor stores. And no, man, I've always I was never good at learning other people's music. I'll be the first to admit it. Like, I'm not that guitar player. Like, the Guns N' Roses gig fit more like a glove than probably any other style of music, just because I was such a fan of the music growing up. And so Slash's style, that very bluesy pentatonic style, really fit me, and I felt like I could bring something to the table and do whatever I could to at least do that justice, but yeah, learning other people's songs, I've never actually had a big desire to do it. I've always just, since I was young, just always tried to write my own stuff. It's just always kind of been in my blood. And I would study every kind of music, like all kinds of, different genres. I never just listened to rock, but I was in a jazz band, to a pep band, to, I just loved music. And I never was intrigued solely by guitar ever. I was always intrigued by orchestra music, and I was always listening to John Williams and Danny Elfman, and I love composers, and I just love Christmas music and that whole theatrical feel behind, when you go to Disneyland, that feel that music gives you. It could be June, and I could put in a Christmas song, and it just makes me feel good, and there's something cool about Christmas and Christmas songs that have always kind of touched me. Maybe it reminds me of my childhood, I don't know, but I was really happy to kind of tap into, a single, to be able to put out a single. And it was actually Tony from the label's idea. And it was a last minute thing that I had to throw together. I had like a month to get the song, record the song, figure it out, and shoot a video and mix it, master it. And it was a lot of work.
A lot of work would be an understatement, because, again, it's not a single, it's a damn project.
It was. It was definitely a project to get that song done, for sure, the way I envisioned it. And Castor Troy did the video, and the video couldn't have turned out. It honestly, I was on set, and I was like, I see it this way, and I set up the Christmas tree, and I was like, set the little girl there. I saw it as plain as day in my head, and he just nailed really what was in my head, and I love working with him because of that. And I have a great team of people around me, though. I have JP on the track, helps me in the studio, and then I got my assistant engineer Robert Gusman, and Luca, who's just world famous mixer and master guy. So I got a really small, tight knit family around me, but I'm very fortunate to have good people. Awesome assistant Paige.
There's Paige. You mentioned before, though, that you have great memories associated with Christmas. Was it the kind of thing where you got your first guitar as a Christmas present?
I got my first BB gun at Christmas and shot out the gas station window and almost got arrested, but I was too young, so I got off. But I don't know what it is, honestly. I have vague memories of when, some of the good times growing up and the family all together and, just the Christmas cookies. And if I, like growing up now, I wish I would have held on to that a little more, because you just don't realize, you just feel like those days are going to be, but people pass away, things
right.
happen. You realize, as you get older that, man, I wish I really would have, held on to that and taken it in a little more, probably, but yeah.
Well, on a brighter note, because I'm going to just keep throwing compliments your way, I look at where you are in your career, which is that this is a successful guy that steadily works on a mix of projects, whether or not we know that it's you behind them. Yeah. There's a lot of work you do that it's not on your Wikipedia page. That's a pretty incomplete Wikipedia. But
whoever did my Wikipedia, needs to be fired, because I read it and I'm like, there are so much misinformation, like so many things on there that said, yeah, I don't know who goes by Wikipedia, but it's
you have to do your 4-tiered research thing, and you go, okay, what is the publicist saying? What's Wikipedia saying? What are the other interviews that the person does where they dispel the Wikipedia and the IMDb page say? And then what do you actually get from listening to the new project? What input is there? So all that said, is there anything that you haven't yet accomplished or worked on or still want to do?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things, that I would love to get more into acting and do some more TV stuff. But, my thing right now, my only focus is bringing this new music that I've created to the fans, get this show, we're working up a really spectacular show for people. And I hope the EDM world, is accepting of it, because it is a different sound. It's a very unique, it has a very unique sound to it, which is exciting and a little scary too, to go out there in front of a completely different crowd. But I haven't been this inspired in a long time. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Does that mean that Jump by Van Halen getting its #1 EDM release is in any way connected to this?
I just think that's great. I've always hated walls around genres. I get why we have to kind of categorize stuff, but
yeah,
you don't find anything in a record store. But, I hate that it really does limit the writers and the producers of these songs. It's like, I hate the rules. And this is the first time in my career that I'm not writing for radio. I could give two shits about radio. It's the first time I feel like there's no rules, there's no walls, no format. I don't feel like I have to hit the court, and it's just, to me, it's just, this is the most artsy I've been able to be, and free I've been able to be with writing songs and producing songs. And to me, I've worked for this. I go, I really don't care if people get it. That's great. But if they don't, this project is more just so, it's just something I've always wanted to do. Something different than, I have 6 a.m.,
right.
So it's like, if they want to hear me play rock, I have my rock band, but this is something different. I'm trying to kind of break some rules and break down some barriers and kind of merge a few different genres together and see what happens,
do you yourself dance? I ask that not like to be a jackass with that question, but you'll find that some EDM-oriented people hate dancing.
I suck at dancing. If I have a guitar and a bottle of Jaeger, I can dance okay. But no, my wife actually, she's a great dancer. She's Colombian. She just has it. But she actually hired a dance instructor to the house one day. And I had 3 lessons, and I made it through like a half of one. And I said, don't ever bring that motherfucker back here ever again, because it's just, and yeah, it's horrible. You know, it is what it is.
It is what it is. You got time for 3 more questions, and then you're a free man?
I'm good.
Okay, the first question is a stupid thing, but I've never heard this addressed before. You weren't the only Darren in Guns N' Roses at one given point of time. Is that something that was ever discussed amongst Guns N' Roses? That was, for a while, the most popular name in Guns N' Roses?
That was never discussed. And in fact, most people don't even know my real name. So it's like one of those things where when I was a young kid, my mom remarried, and she remarried a guy with a kid already named Darren. So I immediately was called DJ, you know. So my whole life since I was really little, nobody's ever called me Darren. So when they do, I don't even respond. It's weird. But yeah, no, nobody's ever brought it up really.
Did you have a whole childhood of Bewitched references to Brave?
I did a little bit, yeah. And which was weird to me because I didn't watch Bewitched and I didn't watch TV, you know, because I grew up in a religious family and we weren't allowed TVs in the house. So all I had was a piano and a guitar growing up. So, yeah.
Made it out of Indiana. And that's another thing about Guns N' Roses. Half the band's from Indiana. Is that by design? Is that part of how you got the gig?
No, actually, no. Yeah, me, Izzy, and Axl are all from Indiana, and it's like, but no, not at all. I never knew them back home. Sharon Osbourne originally introduced me, walked me over into the studio, and Beautiful Creatures was in one studio, and Guns was doing Chinese Democracy in another studio.
Wow.
And Sharon Osbourne is best friends with Gloria Butler, who's Geezer's Butler's wife, and she was our manager. So we were always with Sharon, like always, because of our managers, and that's how we did Ozfest and all that stuff. But I remember I was playing D, Randy Rhoads' piece, just in the studio between takes, waiting for them to change the 2-inch tape, whatever. And I looked up, and in the doorway, Sharon was in tears. And I had no idea she was even standing there. And anyway, we got to talking, and she walked me around the corner and took me in to introduce me to Axl. But that was the first time I had ever met him. And that was many years before I ever got the gig. But, you know, I guess from what he says, I've been on his radar for a long time. I was pretty flattered that he even followed my career, you know. I mean, I was shocked that he even knew who I was, but that was pretty cool, you know.
I had no idea about any of that history, and I'm really flattered that you shared that with me. That's great, and it's great to know that you can actually play the Randy Rhoads tracks, because how many people can play anything besides the finger tapping part of Crazy Train?
Right, exactly. And I grew up again on Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads. Like, you can go back to every interview. And Scotty Moore, I loved Elvis because my mom, that was one little bit of rock and roll I was allowed to listen to. All the others I had to sneak, you know. My older brother gave me his big box of Kiss posters, and I literally had to hide them behind the furnace so my mom and my dad didn't know about it. And then they found him, and I got whipped by a belt, and they threw him out. And it was kind of neat because when I had left home many years later, my first real tour with Beautiful Creatures was opening up for Kiss. And I got called back home and go, remember those posters you threw out? Yeah, I'm on tour with those guys. So it felt kind of good. So.
Wow. Everything comes full circle. Aside from all the music and all that, do you have a TV recommendation that you could pass along to people who are looking for a new show?
God, again, what's a good show? I'm trying to think what I.
Page Knows.
I mean, honestly, I watch a lot of ID Go. I don't know. I'm not really a big TV watcher. Again, I grew up without a TV, so I don't. I just kind of put in a movie here and there when I get some free time. But I'm not that guy that gets sucked into TV shows too much, because there's two things I think are a waste of time. It's sleeping and eating. I hate going to bed, and I hate eating because I just feel like it's a big waste of time. I am such a workaholic. All I do is work, and so for me I'll always have TV on in the background, but I'm never watching. I'm always on the computer designing clothing, or writing a new song, or whatever I'm doing. I'm always busy. Or I love to fix shit around the house. I'm like Bob Vila.
So you're a doer. That's the vibe that I get. You don't like to watch other people do stuff.
Never. Like, any of my friends that come over, the one thing they're always like, if you didn't know you were in all these big bands, you would never know you're a musician, because, outside of my guitar, like hundreds of guitars throughout my house, but I never really talk about music or any of that stuff, because I never talk about or focus on the past things I've done, which my sister is always like, you got to stop. And, because I get really down on myself if I don't achieve certain things, and I set high goals, and
wow.
And I'm always pushing myself as hard as I can. But, I don't know. It's one of those things where every day, I just want to get that much closer to my next goal before I hit the bed at night. So.
And are all these goals written down somewhere on some vision board?
No, it's just something, I live, eat, and breathe. I'm always working about two to 3 years ahead. So I'm constantly designing clothing that's not going to come out till, and writing stuff and working on concerts that people won't be able to enjoy for another probably who knows how long. But, I just love to work. I love to, again, I'm nothing more. I think if I have to sit too long, then the demons in my head, I got to listen to them. So I think I'm constantly just keep busy in that way.
I get where you're coming from, man. Well, in closing, DJ, any last words for the kids?
Just thank you, man. Tune in to my Spotify, Apple Music, download my new songs, stream them, and go to my new video, Christmas Storm. And if you can, donate even $1. It helps. Everybody knows we've had one of the most, brutal years, and this is a way that we can help give some kids a great Christmas this year. So,
well said. Well, thank you for practicing what you preach, and just keep up the greatness there.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks. Take care.
Yeah.
Paltrocast.
Hi, Kristin. How's it going there today?
I'm good. Is this Darren?
This is Darren. And
Hi.
thank you for doing this. Am I getting you from New York today?
Honestly, I wish, as I'm a little homesick, but I am in the beautiful Vancouver shooting a new TV show starring Cecily Strong for Apple, and it is beautiful here, but I'm a little homesick.
I can imagine. Usually when you're interviewing somebody, there's only one project to talk about. And of course, there's Holiday, there's Candyland, there's The Witches, there's some wonderful Kellogg's things going on. Tell me about what's behind you first and foremost.
Yes, can we? So
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this about me, Darren, but I don't cook. I like things that come in packages. You open them and then you eat it, right? That's why this was such a great pairing for me, because the Kellogg's family really knows what they're doing. I have been sent so much of their product. People should go on www.kellogg'sfamilyrewards.com to check out all the different kinds of cheese and platters that they have, cheese and cracker platters. But I'm just going to say, not that I should, but the flatbread cracker is my favorite, but I cannot confirm or deny that, Darren. Okay, you did not hear it here.
I personally am a flatbread person when it comes to trying to eat healthy but indulgent at the same time. So great offerings behind you. And the movie Holiday, my wife told me last night I had to watch it. We watched it. Then I realized, wait, you're in that. It was an absolute great coincidence and all that. What time of year did you film that? Because, of course, it shows all sorts of holidays.
Okay, thank you for asking this, Darren. I would love to say we were in cozy, chilly Utah shooting the Christmas movie, but we were in hot Atlanta. Now, I love you, Atlanta, but it was hot, and it was July. It was May, June, and July. So, you know, I was hot. Okay, I was hot, but I had a blast. It was so fun. I'm really glad that you're talking to me still. I think my family in Oklahoma was a little like, what did you do? But it was a fun movie and part to play.
And you're from a very cool, in my opinion, part of Oklahoma. You're from a suburb of Tulsa. When did you start to notice that it was cool out there and not just that's where I grew up?
Wow, thank you for saying that, really. I remember when we arrived, I was in the 2nd grade, and I literally, Darren, saw a teepee, and I thought, I want to go in that. I have since been to several powwows and come to understand a little bit more of my heritage, and I'm really glad that I grew up the way I grew up in that town. We had a sense of community there that I don't know if it's internet or my age, but I feel like is lacking today. So there was a real sense of community and almost a non-judgment place. It was a great merging of city and country, and you know, I loved growing up there.
When I was last in Tulsa, I saw that they were actually paying artists and people to move out there and be creative. Did your roots as a performer go back to even then, or did it more have to emerge once you left Oklahoma?
Oh, for sure it started there. When I was a little bitty girl, I auditioned for Tulsa Ballet Theater. They didn't take very many kids. I was lucky enough to be accepted. I did the church choir. Think about it. I was in the Bible Belt. So how was I going to sing and learn? My parents, we weren't moving to New York anytime soon. So I did ballet. I took piano lessons. I was in the church choir and the plays at school. I was pretty much a normal kid, but I was, you know, singled out as, wait, what is that? You know, and I did feel kind of by myself in that way, but I had great teachers, which continued on to Oklahoma City University, where I met my mentor, Florence Birdwell, who I still have in my head today. And I can hear her going, you're not breathing deep. I can't understand you. And those are the kind of teachers that stay with you and help you have a long career.
So let's let it stand for the record. You made Oklahoma cool before Hanson did.
Thank you. And Hanson, you know I love you. But hello, I was there first, babies.
Yeah, you bridged the gap between Leon Russell and Hanson, which is a big accomplishment.
That you said Leon Russell makes you way cooler than anybody I've talked to today, Darren. Leon Russell is the king. Let's just get it straight. And then there's Reba.
Yeah. Oh, the list goes on and on. There's Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains. But, hey, that is not what we're talking about. You're pointing at your nose.
I love him.
Okay.
Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Come on.
Well, going back to the many projects that you have going on there, does Kellogg's in any way factor into Candyland, or that's just, it happens to be food related and Kellogg's and that's separate?
What's so funny, Darren, as I've said, I don't cook. It's funny and ironic that I am the host of a show called Candyland the Food Network.
Yeah.
It was an interesting call to get because I'm not comfortable in a kitchen. The reality-based competition show is amazing. Watching other artists build things out of confection and sugar, I was amazed at what we did, what they did, what I got to see and witness. And then when Kellogg's phoned me, I was like, hello, I'm eating them now. So it's not a problem. Like, I can talk about things I love, people. And everybody should definitely visit www.kellogg'sfamilyrewards.com to see their amazing, like, cheese and cracker and platters and all the different ideas they have for the holidays. I don't know about your family, but my family eats, okay? At holidays, we eat, and we begin here.
This family eats, this family drinks, and a testament to you is that you're juggling all these projects at the same time. At this point in your career, people know who you are. You're a household name. But how much of it is you having to audition and seek stuff out versus you stuff just coming to you and saying, I want to do this, I don't want to do this?
It's interesting. I'm in a time in my life, and I've worked long and hard for many years. I'm in a time in my life where people either kind of know and they're involved and they offer it, or they're not interested. And that's a relief, because to sort of have people know what you can bring and what you can offer. And, you know, I have many different lanes. I love to visit them all. I have worked with a lot of great directors. And I'm just grateful for all the different ways I get to work, Darren, because if I were just stuck in, you know, I love Broadway, that's my roots, but if it was just that, first of all, right now, I don't know how I'd make a living. I am beyond ready for Broadway to come back. And when we do, holy crap, people better watch out. Because I know there are people in the wings right now just waiting, much like myself, waiting. I love film and TV, but the concert tour has been postponed. I was in the middle of it, just starting for the girls tour. And Broadway performers like me we're salivating. Of course, we want to come back safe, right? But for some of this is the way we live. And I'm ready for I'm ready for 2020 to be behind us. How's that? That
works for me. Well, 3 quick questions, and then you're free, for me at least, because I know you have a lot of media to do today. The first thing is there anything you haven't done with your career yet you're still hoping to work on or accomplish?
Absolutely. I'm still that girl, right? I think the day that it's not there for me, I'll quit. I want to produce a Broadway show, whether it be mine or one that I envision or one that I want to make a star. One of those 3. I would like to produce a Broadway show. I have not been successful at that. I want that more than anything. Okay.
Question 2, Candyland aside, what's a show that people should be watching, in your opinion?
Oh, so many people are going to be mad at me. Obviously scripted shows are really important as I'm an actress, but I love anything on Bravo, and I love Below Deck and Scene.
Okay, you got taste. In the closer, Kristin, any last words for the kids?
Yeah, for all kids out there, I'm speaking to you as a former kid and a kid at heart. This too shall pass, and when it does, we will be ready.
Well, thank you, and thank you to Team Kellogg's for making this happen, and just keep up the greatness there.
Thank you, Darren. Be safe. Stay safe.
Take care.
Paltrocast.
Hey, Fran, how's it going there?
Good, thanks.
To put it mildly, I had a bit of a thing earlier where I said, I've been a fan of Travis for over 20 years now. It kind of hit me of like...
How old you were?
Yeah, how old I am, and how that almost makes you like a classic rock band at this point. Has that ever hit you, that realization?
You know, I was thinking about it, and I think the Rolling Stones have changed the definition of classic rock bands for all of us. I think all of the older bands have, and that goes for maybe, Ozzy Osbourne and all these older guys. And I think now, you've really got, I think the idea of classic rock has completely changed. I think classic rock is a genre, and I don't know if we're part of classic rock. I think we're something else. I think classic rock's 70s, 70s rock. That's
sure.
Kind of what, to me, that's what classic rock's. So I don't know if, but we're definitely elder indie statesmen.
In the best of ways, I have to say.
Yeah.
because going back to that legacy kind of thing, I think it was the bonus disc a couple albums ago, which had the 1999 Glastonbury show. And you're talking about songs from the man who's like, well, this is a new song of ours. And at this point in time, you've had so many singles that I'm sure if you played 16 songs live, people would be like, they missed these 3 hits and these 3 favorites of mine. So I have to imagine it's tough at this point in time when touring resumes to put together a set list.
Yeah, it is a little bit tricky. You know, I'm really, really hard on myself as a writer. I was watching, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but this Bee Gees documentary.
Sure.
Just come out. It's fucking brilliant. Pardon my French. And you know, I always loved the Bee Gees, and I never understood they went through a phase of overexposure. I can understand the overexposure because we definitely, in The Man Who, got overexposed. A few songs, especially like "Why Does It Always Rain on Me," just maybe get played a little bit too many times.
To me, that was a good thing. To you, it was overexposure and good payments through your PRO funds. For me, it was, hey, a lot of people are finding out of this band, and when they're touring with Dido, people are singing along.
Yeah. That's true. But watching the Bee Gees thing, it got me feeling a little bit sad. I was like, fuck, man. You know, we never got if you've seen the documentary, did you watch it?
I know about what happens in it, and I'm a big Bee Gees fan, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
So the interesting thing with them is this idea of their 2 careers in the Bee Gees' lifetime. Yeah. They have their 60s career, and then they go into this
Stigwood.
Yeah, they're playing in these shitholes in Britain. And then Eric Clapton suggests, you know, guys, you should go and record an album over in Miami and just get into the sunshine and blah, blah, blah. And this is where they start changing and they accidentally come across this, ha, ha, you know, this sound. And it just made me kind of think, oh, shit, man, I really, my songs are shit.
Oh.
No, it's funny, but this is the thing. You know, I was talking to a friend the other day. He's a comedian called Dimitri Martin.
Oh yeah, great comic.
Dimitri's an old friend of mine, and we were sort of bemoaning the pandemic and that we couldn't tour. He can't tour either, and we were talking about artists and how we all kind of we all have imposter syndrome. All of us. He has it. I have it. He even said he's like, I just wrote a joke about someone with imposter syndrome and typical Dimitri. And but this is it. You know, you don't really. I think at the heart of every artist, there's a little tiny seed of you know you're good, but it's surrounded by a cloud of doubt. And this is, you know, so it's that we're still here. I'm like, oh, this is great. But I think the thing that drives you to try and write songs is maybe this idea that, shit, I'm not good enough, or I could maybe, because they're all out there. They're all still floating around. All these songs are kind of, so, you know.
I understand where you're going with that. Before I ask you about 10 songs, though, there was a song a couple albums ago called Selfish Gene, which I was curious about after you wrote that. Two-parter. Was there more of a push to get you to do more almost dancey songs like that? Or did that song even just start out as like a typical laid-back but edgy Travis song and then got pushed up to that?
Oh, you know, tempo-wise?
Yeah, because it's I use the word dancey. Like sometimes, every now and then, you get a Travis song that is bouncier in a way. I say all that as a big fan of Travis, of course.
Well, yeah. That song. Hold on, I'm just gonna just stay there. Okay.
Sure, man.
Because it's here. That song. So I'm gonna put you up here.
Whoa, that's a guitar.
That's a guitar. So I'll turn you the right way around. Right. So this here.
C chord. Yeah.
That's that. I use that in a couple of songs. Like I use it in All I Want to Do Is Rock.
Yeah.
I use it in What's So Wrong with the Face So Long? Is It Over?
Yeah.
And then I used it in Selfish Gene, which goes.
Yeah.
You know, it's Selfish Gene is like a sped up version of Love. I realized when I played it there for you. But the thing is, wait, where are you? I've got to turn it back around.
Technology.
I think that you know, that I know for a fact that song was always an up-tempo song. I wrote it in our house in London. I had this little space under the stairs, and again I was playing about with this C shape with the finger coming on and off.
Yeah.
And I did it kind of up tempo like that, and it felt good. And that's the thing about like tempos. Like when we wrote when we were piecing together Why Does It Always Rain on Me in the studio, it was much faster. It felt like the tempo was like tied to the 90s, which is a song that we have on our first album.
Right.
A little bit more like
great up-tempo song from the first record, sure.
Yeah, and it just felt a little bit, it didn't feel right in that tempo, this up-tempo. So I was like, let's just play it like we're playing it in slow motion. So we just knocked the tempo down really a lot. And then suddenly it was like, oh, this is really amazing. It sounded totally different. And so, you know, it's the same way with if you played Selfish Gene in a slower tempo, even a couple of clicks slower, it wouldn't feel the same. Right. So you get it into the sweet spot, and it almost, the song tells you, right, this is perfect, because you can say the words in the right time. You're not rushing or you're not slurring. But yeah, good question though.
Well, sometimes you want your interviewers to know the catalog, and sometimes you want them to go, like, tell me about the new record. So I'll transition that to the new record. When you have an album called 10 Songs, was that like a working title, or did it actually, I'm already getting a no, so you knew outright it was called 10 Songs?
Yeah, we you know, I was looking at my iPad last night, at all of, when I was in the studio, I was going through titles. We had in February and March this year, we were doing our second session and finishing off the recording and mixing. And while I was in the studio, I was thinking about the titles, like, what am I going to call this? One of them was, what was it again? Can I just check? Let me just check.
Yeah, sure, man. We're live.
Hold on.
No.
I'm just gonna. You'll not see me for a second because I'm just going on to Procreate, which is my thing of choice.
Sure.
My God, you want to see how many drawings and things are on this for this record? It's insane, right?
Hey, creative guy doing creative things.
Let's see. Where is it? There we go. CTRL plus W.
Okay.
That was one of the names of the. I've got one life left was another. One Life Left was another working title for this album, and there was lots of different artwork as well. Hold on, let me come back to you. I can't get out of this. Help.
Well, where I was going with that is, knowing what I know from music business work, a lot of people have a publishing deal. Their thing is, well, you have to turn in 10 songs or else you don't get the advance. I didn't know, because you've always had a great sense of humor, and it's always come across in concert. I didn't know if that was 10 songs, no. Advance.
No. It was really like I was going through these different titles. Like One Life Left was in CTRLW, which is like closing a window, you know, this idea of, because it felt to me, this album feels like the end of many things and the beginning of new things. And I but it just all felt a little bit arch, and I just felt like, and then I had the track listing always looking at the names of the songs, and we not kept calling it 10 songs, but referring to it as 10 songs when we were talking about this, this one out of the 10 songs, and it sounded cool, And we have another album called 12 Memories.
Yes.
So it chimed in a little bit with those kind of titles, that title. And I think the most important thing about this title is I don't think people are, there are people writing songs still, but not many of us. And when I say a song, I mean something that goes a little bit beyond a jingle.
Right.
It goes a little bit beyond just entertainment. There's something a little bit deeper there that speaks to you about your life or the truth or whatever. And so I think to write a song in this time and when there's not much going on song-wise is kind of cool. It's kind of punk, for
That's
want
fair.
of a better term. Who'd have thought that writing a simple song could be punk? But it sort of is nowadays because no one's doing it. And no one's doing it because it's fucking hard. It is. Listen, I listen to music a lot, and there's not many brilliant melodies at the moment that inspire me. I have to sit and try and think of my own. And but yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those years where it'd be really hard to do a top 10 list because you have to kind of think of, are there 10 albums that I really liked and listened to all the way through? Now, if I were doing that or a top 5, obviously your album goes on there, so take the damn compliment. But something I'm curious about is a lot of bands kind of have their peaks and their valleys where they go, I don't know, maybe we should break up, maybe we should change directions. But when you listen to the Travis albums, it doesn't seem like you guys ever got bad, you ever started using outside co-writers, you ever had to go, well, here's our EDM track. You didn't do that. Was there a period, though, where it was like, is this the end of Travis?
Yeah, definitely. We had a bit of a period like that. When was it? I think it wasn't a feeling. It got to that feeling. It started out like we all just had a break. Like we all went off to be dads. And this was between Ode to J. Smith and Where You Stand.
Mm-hmm.
And in that time, I had written a record almost like it was going to be a Travis record, but we all went on a break. So I did my solo thing, which was okay. It's really nice, good songs, and a nice experience. But I'm in a band, so. But there was a point, towards like year 3 of being out of the band and not touring and not doing anything, that it felt, oh God, is this it? Are we done? Are we actually going to go back and do this? And we did, and it was a kind of, we got a call to do a show. That was the reason we got back together. There was a show somewhere, and we met, and everyone was great. It was as if we'd seen each other 2 days earlier, and it was fine. It's always difficult being in any kind of close quarters with other
Of
people. Of
course.
And but we've really weathered the storms really well. We've respected each other's kind of need to just chill and not see anyone else, in the band. And which is really important. We're also Scottish, so we're kind of sensible. We have our feet on the ground. We always kept our feet on the ground, so we know what's important. We have a good sense of priorities, and I think to be in a band is one of the most amazing jobs you can have. There's definitely a lot of waiting around, but,
like acting, yeah.
But to do that job is like it's a trip, No one gets to do that. So we're all pretty it's not lost on us, So we've kept it, we've looked after it, and that's why we're still together.
There's that gratitude. Well, you got time for 3 quick questions, and then you're a free man.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
The first question. if you're a big sports fan here in New York, you hear a lot about Fran Healy, but that's not the singer Fran Healy from Travis. Do any photos of you and that Fran Healy exist?
See that? I missed that. I missed that last part.
Do any photos of you and that other Fran Healy exist? Have you ever met? Oh, there's the baseball card.
Right. There's a picture of me in the front.
I don't know if you've been asked that all the time, but, growing up, you'd hear, and now going to Fran Healy. And you're like, what? He's on TV in New York? Okay. There you go.
It's funny because it's really weird because he is like a big fucking deal in baseball. And he's quite a polarizing figure.
Sure.
It seems. And so when MySpace was starting and before Facebook, before Twitter and all that, we had MySpace. And I would get these disgruntled I would get these people, like these crazy baseball people going, "You motherfucker!" And I'm like, who the hell is this Fran Healy? But the weird thing is, like, we lived in New York for a little while. We had an apartment there for 12 years, 14 years actually. And I think he lived really nearby because I looked us up. I looked him up in the telephone directory. He was there. He's like 2 blocks from me.
Well, I'm glad you didn't get any of his hate mail to your physical address in Soho.
Yeah, that would have been uncomfortable.
There you go. And the closer, Fran, any last words for the kids?
I would say, it's been a fucking... Can I swear?
Yeah, you can. Most people can.
It's been a fucking hard year for everyone. I've known people who've lost their mums and dads to this thing, this pandemic, and there's not, until that sort of happened, I was quite, and I still am a little bit because you just have to. It's a British thing, you just have to laugh, you just have to smile through it. But I think we're coming. I think we all begin to see a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm very I'm not an anti-vaxxer person, but I'm very anti-corporate America person. And I find a lot of, the big pharmaceutical people to be suspect. Not the science, just the people who run those businesses.
Sure.
But I'm very, very hopeful about the Pfizer, the mRNA vaccine. This is it's like futuristic science that they're doing. It's not like the old way they used to do it. They're doing new things, and I think not only is it exciting for COVID, like for instance, my doctor in Los Angeles, he's had it. He got the two in August and September, and he's fine. He's fine. He had a sore arm when he got it done, but that's to be expected. But to me, right now, I think it's pretty exciting, not just for COVID, but for all these kind of viruses that are flying around now. They have this new technology which is going to make it, which is going to help us fight all these things and old things as well. So I'm kind of hopeful. I really want to get back on the road. All of us, all of the bands, every band. I mean, you've got I was talking to someone the other day about the Strokes, and they brought their album out right on the pandemic, and all the bands I know, we've all had to cancel everything, reschedule, or just take that away, and it's a big part of a record. So I really hope. And the mad thing is, we haven't toured in America for years, and we were planning on coming, and then this happened. So But I'm looking forward to coming back. A long answer to a short question. But, it's been a long year.
A great answer to a question that's been asked a lot. So I really appreciate your time, and when things get normal, looking forward to seeing you live in New York again. And just keep up the great music. It's great to see that somebody could still be great 20-ish years after they make an impact.
Thanks a lot. I'm going to try.
Thanks, Fran. Have a great rest of the day.
You too. See you later.
Take care.
Paltrocast.
Thanks for checking out the Paltrocast with Darren Paltrowitz. Produced by V13 Media. Theme song by Steve Schiltz. Audio mixing by Mark Piro. Until next time, have a great Shabbos.
Paltrocast.